What's going on, everyone? So let's talk about Stephon Castle because I'm really excited about this Spurs pick. Obviously, he was the fourth overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs. He's looked at as like their future guard alongside Victor Wembanyama. He's expected to kind of be developed as that point guard, but also kind of in that like SGA type mold, right? Like I think he's closer to an SGA type than he is like a Chris Paul type. And we'll touch on Chris Paul and his impact on Castle here in a moment. And what I mean by that is just he's that athletic kind of combo guard at this point, right? 6'6" in size. So he can basically play 1 through 3 for you. He's got good weight behind him, 215 for that 6'6" size, which he weighs more than Victor, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is funny. But nonetheless, right, this is a guy that could be very versatile for the Spurs. You could slot him alongside a point guard. He can run and play the point guard. But to me, he's more of, again, that combo guard, that Ja Morant, the SGA, the athletic, right, go get you a bucket type, but can still make the occasional play. Right? I don't think he's going to be necessarily that traditional playmaker where, he's getting you like 12 to 15 points, but he's getting you, 10 to 11 assists a game. I think he's a guy that probably be that, once he hits his peak, that 25, 5 and 7 guy, something like that, which is kind of the modern point guard in today's NBA, right? That versatile, athletic, play both sides of the basketball. But Castle also is just a winner, right? And he is just a guy that's willing to do and sacrifice and whatever is necessary for his team to win. And that's something that I loved about him, right? And even you look at Summer League, he wasn't able to finish Summer League. He had a sprained wrist, and they ended up keeping him out for the rest of Summer League for precaution. But when he was out there, right, like even the game in which he sprained his wrist, he had 22 points, was 8 of 20 from the field, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. You can just really see his versatility. I thought he was very good in the Summer League, right? He clearly is a guy that's going to take some time. He's going to need some development, right? He's a guy that, no, he's not going to come out and be a 20 and 25 and 5 guy right out the gate. But I do think he's a guy that, could, with the proper development, with the patience, with the time, be a real potential star. Like, I even said when the Spurs drafted him, I wouldn't be shocked if Castle is the best player in this draft. I just think he has that potential. I also love the vets that they brought in, because I think both guys are going to have huge impacts on Castle. First off, let's go with Chris Paul, because I think Chris Paul will have the biggest impact because they want to make Castle be a point guard, right? That's what the plan is, have him develop, right? We saw what Chris Paul was able to do with SGA. SGA himself, to this day, talks about Chris Paul and his impact and how he basically changed SGA's game entirely, made him the player that he is. I mean, he's said it in interviews. I mean, he's praised Chris Paul in so many ways, right? Chris Paul went to the Thunder, and SGA, a year or two later, emerged as a star. Now, is he going to be able to do that with Castle? I don't know, right? Like, all players are different, but it just shows the development and what Chris Paul is able to do. And if Stephon Castle is the type of guy that I think he is, I think he's just going to glue himself to Chris Paul and learn as much as he can. I think he's going to be a student of Chris Paul, just like SGA was. And SGA says that he still goes to Chris Paul's house and works out with him and learns stuff from him, right? I want to see Castle be the same way. I want to see Castle really kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what Chris Paul can do. But Chris Paul being that visionary at the point guard position, and he's going to be able to really break stuff down for Castle and help him see the floor in the game in ways that probably never ever looked at, right? He's a guy that, in his heyday, and even now, can just really impact the game on both sides of the basketball and be able to control the game and the pace and all that stuff, right? Because Castle's a guy, we know he can explode, he can get to the basket, he can do a lot of things, but you need to know when. You need to know when to just go 100 miles an hour, and you need to know when to slow it down and let things cook and control the clock and control the, those type of things I think go a long way. And then Harrison Barnes, I think, will make a real impact because, one, he's won a championship, and he was a huge piece for this the Warriors in that championship. But also, he's a guy that is your prototypical 3-and-D, right? He understands how to play off ball. He understands the role that is asked of him. And so with Castle and his size and his length and his ability to, again, slot in 1 through 3. I think, to be able to learn from one of the best point guards to ever do it, and then learn from a real, 3-and-D player that has made a living in a career and gotten paid like very significant and is looked at and at times was the kind of premier 3-and-D guy. He's not who he used to be, but he's still a very good 3-and-D player. I just think that will really be able to influence Castle and help him just get different looks and get different perspectives and see the game in different ways and help adjust different positions. Because this season, the real question is, how much is Castle going to play, right? How much opportunity does he actually get? Does he start? Does he come off the bench, right? Him and Victor Wembanyama are the future. They're the two guys. Devin Vassell's a part of that too and stuff, but Castle's looked at as the guy that he's supposed to man the ship for, everything to really be flowing, right? But how do the Spurs handle him right out the gate? I think early on, they'll kind of ease him. Like even you saw with Victor last year, right? Yeah, he wasn't playing, the 35 minutes a game. He was kind of, he's sitting at times where you're like, man, this would be a really good time to play him, right? Like, Pop kind of let him ease his way in. And then you saw as the season progressed, Victor get more and more time, more and more opportunity, right? More and more run. I think you'll see a similar thing with Castle, where it'll be like, hey, here's, here's limited moments, here's moments here and there, right? Now, again, you could also start Castle, because you could always move Harrison Barnes to the 4, right? And kind of, because Victor is just so big, long, and versatile defensively, right? It would make sense, like, hey, Victor's got the paint, right? Let's be as good defensively out on the perimeter as possible, right? And kind of move Barnes to the 4. You can put Castle at the 3, have Vassell at the 2, and then CP at the 1. But do they want to do that right out the gate? Or do they want him to kind of be mentored and developed as a point guard? So do they basically run him primarily as the backup point guard? Right? I also think it depends on two things. One, how many games do the Spurs really want to win? Do the Spurs really want to be a playoff team? Because if that's the case, then you're probably not running him heavily at the point, right? Like you're going to put him in, slotted in the best position, probably as just the dirty work guy year one, right? You probably just slotted him in as the 3 to be that, help rebound from the corner and, be that defensive perimeter guy and just dive for loose balls and just do the gritty work, right? But if you want to really kind of develop him properly this year in the slots in which you want him to play, then I think you do have him as the point guard. I do think, and I'm not saying even if you want to win that you can't ever put him at the point guard. I'm just saying how heavily do you play him, right? If I'm looking more in his development at the point guard position, then I'm playing him, 20 minutes a game at the point guard, right? Or as many minutes as I can, like when Chris Paul isn't in it. And then if Chris Paul, misses a game, boom, Castle is starting at the point guard position. I just think it depends on, how you want to approach it. The other thing is, too, is how good is Castle right out the gate, right? Like, the best way to get playing time and minutes and a role is just be so good they have to play it, right? But, again, he's a rookie. He's young. He's coming in. I'm not saying he won't be good. I'm not saying that he won't be, impactful. I do expect him to really have a role and be in the rotation, play some meaningful minutes. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying he's going to be like a garbage time guy. There's a big difference between, like, if he's out the gate, 12 to 15 point a game guy, and, he's basically the 4th option, and he's still out there, he's defending, and he's locking down, he's doing the dirty work, he's doing everything. He's the do-everything guy for them, and he's just really making a statement. It's like, man, you can't take this guy off the court, right? You're going to get a bigger role, you're going to get bigger minutes, you're going to get a bit more opportunity. There's a lot more that goes into it if that's the case, right? I am really excited for the foundation, though, of Castle and Victor. I think that they are two guys that will complement each other supremely, right? Superbly. There we go. That supremely is not the right word. Superb. I look at Castle and his ability to make plays, his ability to defend out on the perimeter, his size, his length. I think that's going to be a real mismatch for opposing teams. I think his grit and his hustle and just the way he plays the game, I think is going to go a long way. You have him out on the perimeter defending and patrolling with Victor, locking it down inside. I think you just get these two guys. You get, Vassell, if he can continue to blossom and evolve into that scorer and just be that just bucket getter for you. I'd like to see him, focus a little more defensively. But if he can be, that just bucket getter, and you just go get 2, 3 and D wings, 6'8" in size to play the 3 and the 4, I think the Spurs can win some championships, like genuinely, right? Obviously, both Victor and Castle have to evolve and mold and become the players that I believe that they both can be. But I think once they are, and again, if Vassell can just be that quality guy, I just think you need 2, 3 and D guys out on the perimeter. So that way you're one of the best defensive teams. You have a guy in Castle that I think will be able to get you, 22 a game at least, because he's also playing defense. And if you have Vassell, then Vassell's going to be your shooting guard, right? Basically, if you have 3 guys that go get you 20 a night in Victor, Vassell, and Castle, and then go get 2 legit 3 and D guys that can defend, lock down defensively, and knock down the open 3, give you 10 points each, I think Spurs will be one of, if not the best teams in the league in a couple of years, right? So again, it's just patience, it's development. But I'm really curious to see the role and impact that Stephon Castle has this year. And is he a Rookie of the Year candidate? Is he coming off the bench and just kind of playing 15 minutes a game? I'm curious to see how Pop handles it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you excited for Stephon Castle first off? Do you think he's going to have a real impact? Do you think he's going to be, a potential star? Do you think he has the potential to be the best player in this draft that he was just in? What kind of minutes and roles do you think he gets? Do you think slot him at the 3, move Barnes at the 4? Do you think no? Right? You got to play him at the point guard, so have him as the backup point guard. Do you want to start him and have CP come off the bench? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.